Everyone. I am Jody Oken, and I am here to talk about college financial aid made easy. Uh, Hopefully you can all see me. Hi. I'm really excited. I think today is going to be a great day talking about financial aid. I see so many participants here. I'm totally excited about that. And I'm hoping that you guys ask us a lot of questions. We're going to go ahead and save some room at the end so that Jeannie and I can go back and forth and answer your questions. You can type them in. We're going to leave enough time at the end to answer those questions. We're going to talk about financial aid, and some of you may be in the middle of financial aid process. Some of you may be entering the financial aid process. I'm going to try and cover all aspects. I know commit day is May 1st, and so we might even have some specific questions about financial aid and right now, but let's just take it slow and take it from the beginning and talk about what is financial aid. So the basis of financial aid, it's a general term that we use in the industry, in the college industry, and it describes programs that help families pay for college, vocational training. So it's all about applying and finding out whether you're eligible or not eligible. And there's different kinds of financial aid. I like to break it down into three different groups. So when you start off with the first group, which is the gift aid, that's the grants and the scholarships. So that's the free money that you need or get if you're eligible, and doesn't have to be repaid. So that's really great. And then there's also a loan piece, or sometimes you might hear it referred to as the self-help piece. So if students are eligible, they might receive some loan pieces, which is borrowed money that needs to be paid back. And also there's a work component, so that's called work study. And if the family is eligible for work study, then they may receive some work study money where their student can actually get a job on campus, and they get a job and they get paid a paycheck, and that's their paycheck that goes to them. So those are the three kinds of financial aid. And we really want to make it sort of break it down today and make it easy for you to understand. So there's need-based financial aid and there's non-need-based aid. So I'm going to give you a few examples so that you've probably heard some of the lingo or language around, and I'm going to try to demystify that language. So first we have need-based aid, and when we're talking about need-based aid, we're talking about federal grants or state grants, and those are the two that you don't have to pay back. They're the free money. Some states require an application that's separate than the main application, and we'll talk about applications later because we're trying to make this easy and break it down into nuggets that you can take back and maybe use on your own. There's also that work study piece I talked about, and that's the money that students earn through having a job maybe on campus or even maybe slightly off campus, and that is also through the federal application. And then there's a subsidized direct student loan. Those loans usually have a low interest rate, and one of the loans has an interest rate that's deferred, and some of them, or they both are, and they also don't need to be paid back until 6 months after they graduate. And there's also, and this is under the need-based aid, there's also parent loans, and those are also at at a low interest rate. And I'm going to get into the long terms and the acronyms. So I see some questions. So thank you for posting your questions, and keep posting them, because I'm definitely gonna write them down and get those answers to you at the end, so that we have those ready for you. There's also examples of non-need-based aids are, there's some colleges and state-funded scholarships, mostly private scholarships or a non-need-based aid. And then there's an unsubsidized student loan, and those are at low interest rates. So I know someone has a question of what are the percentages of students who take up work. We're going to go ahead and we're going to answer those questions at the end. And what do I mean by off-campus work study? So we'll answer those questions at the end. So keep asking the questions, and we are so excited that so many people are joining us today. What a great turnout. Jeannie and I are thrilled. So let's move on, and we'll get to these questions at the end. Net price calculator. This is my favorite thing. I want everyone who is either seeing students or parents, if you're here today and you're trying to figure out if this college or that college is going to fit in your price range, you want to use the net price calculator. It's otherwise known as the NPC. So the net price calculator is something that's either on a college website, in their financial aid section of their website, or you can also locate them on other websites. The net price calculator will have the cost to college. It will ask parents or students to add in particular information like their assets, their adjusted gross income. It'll also ask them, it'll have tuition costs, and then it will calculate what your expected family contribution may be. So expected family contribution can be an EFC. That's another acronym we use in financial aid. Once you find out your EFC, I want you to promise me that you're going to use that as a ballpark, because you really, really need to be filling out the applications and finding out what your own family's expected family contribution is going to be. That net price calculator is going to give you a ballpark figure. So filling out the applications, when you get into the hard work of filling out the applications, that's going to give you a better idea. So let's take notes here, okay? So this is the part where we're going to talk about what types of applications there are. So the first one is the biggie, the one where you've heard about, which is the free application for federal student aid. So otherwise known as the FAFSA. Sometimes people say FAFSA, but it's pronounced FAFSA. So that application is how you get need-based aid. That application goes up every January 1st. It is a student application. The student fills it out, and there is a parent section. So you want to make sure that when you're filling out the application that you know that there's a student section, usually blue right now, student, and then maybe the parent section for this year is purple, okay? Now some colleges ask for you to fill out the College Scholarship Service Profile, otherwise known as the CSS profile. So you can go on the College Board website, and there's a list of all the colleges that require or ask for the CSS profile. So that is a 16-page document that asks you every question about your student, your family. Each application asks a series of different. The free application for federal student aid is federal methodology. The CSS profile is institutional methodology. The federal methodology does not include your house and does not include your retirement. The CSS profile does include your house, does include your retirement, and does include business. There's also institutional forms. Some of the colleges have their own forms. They'll be located on the college website in the financial aid section. A great idea is if you can use your internet browser, you can type in the college that you want, type in financial aid, and you can type in apply for aid. And once you do that, it'll give you all the requirements that's needed for you to apply for aid at that college. If you're in the process right now and we're moving into May 1st, I want to urge you to go to your student's portal or have students go to their portal to make sure that all the documents they need for their financial aid award letter right now, for these are seniors who are getting ready to accept out of college, make sure that all their documents in and they're getting through their verification process like a champ. Okay, so I see there's lots of questions, and I promise you, I'm going to save room. And Regina and I want to welcome everyone today. We see lots of people that we know, College Financial Aid Made Easy, and we're really excited that you came. This is a big week, a big day on College Week Live, and we hope that you get lots of information starting with us. So some great tips about the free application for federal student aid is you need a PIN. The student needs a PIN and the parent needs a PIN. In order to apply for a PIN, you use pin.ed.gov. So that PIN that you fill out for the student can fill out their information. That PIN is the student's PIN for the rest of time. And then a parent, only one parent needs to sign it, and that parent will have their PIN, and they will have their PIN for the rest of time. Now, if we're talking to parents here, and you have 2 students or 3 students or 2 other students going to college, you can use your same PIN. So absolutely keep your PIN in a very secure location. Do not share your PIN. It'll also help you correct your FAFSA. You'll need to be going in and correcting your FAFSA, adding additional schools, or changing any information that maybe in the beginning you just didn't know about. So let's go ahead and hit next. And I think I see a lot of questions, and I'm so happy that we have participants, so many people here today. I think maybe after this I might go ahead and circle back and answer some of those questions, just so we can not lose track. And I'm sure if one person has a question, many people have the same question that they haven't typed in and asked. So let's go ahead and do that. I think we'll start off with, we have one question in the box that says, what is the percentage of students who take up work study for the first year? So if you're offered work study, the percentage is pretty high, and I encourage you to accept the work study because it is a federal program and you do get it from filling out the free application for federal student aid. It is a job on campus that you get a certain amount of dollars to go ahead and receive that money, and the student gets that money as a paycheck to them. Now, the same person answered a question, what do you mean off-campus work study? Well, usually there's like a surrounding area and a campus, and maybe that work study is in an outer building of the actual campus. So that's all I meant when I said off campus. It could just be an outer building that the student is working in. So I hope that answered your question, and please type in more if I didn't specifically answer your question. We have another question here. Can I explain a ballpark a little bit more? So absolutely, I'd love to explain the ballpark a little bit more. The ballpark is, it's going to give you a number of what it's going to cost your family or the family to go to that college. So you don't want to say, oh, I found this on your website, this is what it said. It's giving you an approximate expected family contribution of what it's going to cost. So it kind of gives you an idea, so you know if your student or that student it is a fit financially for that school. So I hope that answered your question in that. Ballpark means it's going to be an estimated number, so you can switch ballpark with estimated. And then we have another question here that says, are there different types of financial aid I can receive? So I think this is a student, and yes, there's different types of financial aid you can receive. There's different types of grants. There's university grants. There's other grants I didn't mention. There's also scholarships I didn't mention, and there's also 3 different kinds of loans. So there's the subsidized loan, the unsubsidized loan, there's a Perkins loan. Those are federal loans. So that, I hope that answers your question. And then I'll answer one more and keep going with the slides. Is it a benefit to complete and submit these forms ASAP? Absolutely. The CSS profile goes up on October 1st, and the FAFSA goes up on January 1st. And you should absolutely fill it out because you don't know if you're eligible at the colleges that you're applying to. So take the time to fill them out for sure. So let me stop there as far as questions go, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep going on the slides, and then I'll circle back. So to calculate a family's EFC, or otherwise known as our expected family contribution, you need to determine your eligibility for need-based aid. So you're going to take the cost of attendance minus your expected family contribution, and you're going to get your need-based aid. The first step in allowing you to apply for the loan programs that the government has is you do have to fill out your FAFSA. So in order to receive the subsidized loan or the unsubsidized loan or even the Perkins loan, the FAFSA needs to be filled out. So it is the gateway to receiving any loans. And there is sort of a freshman, if you've looked at it, you may see like a freshman package where you see a subsidized loan and an unsubsidized loan. And if you're eligible for need, that will be part of your package, maybe depending on your family's income. Also, in order to apply for certain grants or scholarships, and I think this goes back to someone's questions who asked, should we fill out the applications? And you should fill out the applications because some scholarships that may be off campus or not even involved in your college, maybe you're applying for private scholarships, they may ask for a copy of your FAFSA. So in order to show that you filled it out, you may need to send in the PDF of that, so you'll have to have your FAFSA on file. So that's a really great question. So let's see what else we have here. I'm going to read the question. What do you do if FAFSA did not include retirement? So FAFSA does not ask for your retirement at all. So you don't need to put that figure in there. It asks for how much either mom makes or dad makes, or if you're in a blended family or a single family, it'll just be one parent or parent number 2. Also, it'll ask your cash and savings, it'll ask your assets, and it'll also ask any business assets or other assets. So the FAFSA does not ask for retirement at all. So, so that, hopefully that answers your question there. And then, what about student loans is the next question. So, you know, student loans are part of the formula. They're called self-help. So most colleges, when awarding, will give, if you're need eligible, will give parts of maybe grants, scholarships, and then they may give you loans. And if your family has saved, you want to try and think about it like when you're paying the bill for college, you're going to use your savings, anything that you've saved in a particular account or any money that you have saved. And then you're going to turn to grants and scholarships. And then next you're going to take a look at loans. Do you need loans to pay the bill? Student loans. And if you need student loans, you really want to compare student loans. You want to compare federal loans against each other. You want to compare federal loans with private loans. So you always want to be talking. Here's an insider tip. So since we have so many people here, we're going to talk about insider tips. One of the biggest things you want to talk about when starting the process is what's the cost of college, what can our family afford, and how are we going to pay the bill? And then you're going to go backwards and talk about where are you going to apply to, what's a good fit for you. And Jeannie can answer more of those questions when I throw it back to Jeannie. But you know, having all of those pieces together, fit, finances, how you're going to pay the bill, all of those things are going to make your college career successful. All right, so let's go on to another question. We have a junior in high school here, and she says, how soon can I start applying for financial aid and scholarships? So my suggestion is this. You're a junior now. This is your big year, and you're going to work really hard academically. As far as scholarships, you can be applying for scholarships right now if you want and if you have the time, and you should make time to apply for scholarships. There's so many out there that haven't been used. As far as your financial aid goes, the CSS profile will go up October 1st, 2014. So that's this October. And if your schools that you're applying to require the CSS profile, you're going to go ahead and fill that out. And then on January 1st, 2015, you're going to go ahead and complete your FAFSA. All right? So I hope that answers your question there. So let's see, we have another question that says, would you recommend sending out the documents for the financial aid award package to a school you're not sure you want to attend? Okay, great question. I don't want to call out anyone's name so they're not, you know, shy if I do that, but super question. So here's the thing. Financial aid has a deadline. Every school has a deadline of their financial aid forms. If you're applying to many schools, you will have many financial aid deadlines. If you think that you may need aid or you may go to that school, you're going to have to complete the financial aid documents required at that school so that when you get to this point today, so let's say today you're a senior, and you're deciding between schools and you're looking at your aid award packages, then you've filled out an application for that. If you don't put that school on your list, then you may not know if you got aid from that school, if you were even eligible for aid. So my recommendation is yes, fill out financial aid award applications for all the schools that you're going to attend, so that when you're in April of your senior year, you have options to compare award letters. So I hope I answered your question, everything you needed in that question. If not, definitely type in another part 2 to it and I'll go on and take a look at it. The next question is, would you recommend sending out the documents for the financial aid package to a school you're not sure you want to attend? Okay, I already did that one, right? So now we're going to move on, and we have lots of questions. Thank you so much. We're so glad to see everyone here, and it's great to have so many questions, so keep them coming. Here's the next one. Will FAFSA help if your family is at or below poverty level? So yes, FAFSA takes into consideration what your family's adjusted gross income is, if your family is on federal plans where you're getting assistance with reduced lunch prices or SNAP benefits. So FAFSA will take into consideration if your family is below poverty level. So please fill it out. It is the free application for federal student aid. Great questions here. I'm really excited. I'm going to take a break from questions and go back to the PowerPoints, and we'll move on. Keep your questions coming because I am going to save enough time. So to the first step in getting ready for your financial aid process, and this, some of you have heard me say this many times, some of you are hearing it for the first time, so I'm happy to meet all of you today, but I call it the getting ready piece. So my favorite thing is you get a folder, okay, and before you even start filling out the FAFSA, for some of you students who are on here, you juniors who are going to be rising seniors next year, you're finishing your junior year in high school and you've been working really hard, I want you to grab a folder and start gathering all the material you'll need in your folder. You're going to want to get a copy of your driver's license. You're going to want to get a copy of you and your parents' social security card so you have the right social security number on the application. You're also going to want to have a copy of W-2 forms from the year 2013, okay? You're going to be using estimated numbers when you fill out your FAFSA and your CSS profile. And you're also going to be correcting your applications with your 2014 tax return. But for right now, put in your folder the W-2s, if the student worked, and or if parents worked, all a copy of the W-2s. You're also going to need a copy of the federal tax return in your folder. You're going to want a copy of any untaxed income that the family has and current bank statements. So you'll want to get the bank statements as you get closer to either filling out the CSS profile or the FAFSA. The question, here's another insider's tip. The question on the FAFSA and the profile says, as of today, what do you have in your cash, checking, and savings? So you're going to want a bank statement to reflect the day that you're filing, okay? The day that you're filing. And then if you have a business or a farm or other real estate records, you want a copy of the value of that, the debt, the year you purchased it, the purchase price. So if you need to add those into the CSS profile, you can, or if you just need to add a total amount into the FAFSA, you'll just need the value minus the debt and you'll enter that into other assets. If your family has stocks or bonds or other assets or investments, you'll want a total amount of that, whether they have mutual funds, if the student has a 529, or if the student has a UTMA or a UGMA, you'll want the total amount. If you have a brother or sister that has a college fund, you're going to want that also. So create your financial aid folder and keep that handy, because when filling out these applications, if you have everything organized in this list form, it'll make it easier for you to fill out the applications. So welcome to everyone who just joined us. It's a great group and we have great questions being asked. I'm gonna save room in a little bit. I have just a few more slides we're gonna go over. As I said, this is an overarching presentation about financial aid, trying to make it a complicated process made easy for everyone. I think maybe at the end too, I'll touch on it. Maybe we could have a raising of the hands or something to find out if we have current seniors here who may really need some information. But the more that you can do, if you're a junior or a sophomore or a freshman, to prepare for senior year, the easier it's going to be when applying. So let's touch on scholarships. So some of you may know that scholarships are a great source of helping to pay for college. Scholarships help students pay for their education, and the great thing about them is they don't have to be paid back. So it's really great. Scholarships are available for students. Sometimes it's a demonstrated need kind of scholarship. Also, there are achievement scholarships for your academics or maybe your athletics. There's art scholarships or a community service scholarship. So look for scholarships that really fit your profile. It's very important for students to begin tracking their accomplishments so that when they are applying for scholarships, they'll be able to list if they ask for what classes you're taking or what leadership positions you had. You may need to fill that in the scholarship section. Also available for students with financial aid who are interested in certain fields, there's scholarships, or who meet certain criteria. If your parents have scholarships at their work, that's another thing that's really great and an insider tip where they might do a match scholarship. So take a look at that, talk to your parents about that. And scholarships can be awarded by the college, they can be awarded in your community, they can be awarded by corporations, clubs in your town. So don't leave any rock unturned when looking for that free money, scholarships and grants to pay for some of your college. So let's turn to some questions here. Let me see. I have one question. It says, will the retirement, I think you're circling back on the question, the retirement was on 1040. So if your parents are putting money into a pension and they had that money, I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about. If your parents are putting, that is a question on the FAFSA. So if they do put money, it would be on their W-2 in box 12. And if they do put money into a retirement, then you would be entering that money there. Also, if your parents have a SEP or a simple or they're self-employed, they will ask for it there. So yes, that is a question on that particular one, but they don't ask how much is in your retirement. They just ask if you make a contribution. So I hope that clarifies your question on the retirement. And then the next question I have is, if my financial aid package includes insurance, do I have to take the insurance? If you are covered under your parents or you have your own medical plan, you do not have to take the insurance, but you do have to waive it by a certain date. So be clear to go onto your student portal at the college that you're either going to go to or you're considering and waive that. You will have to fill out probably an application that proves that you're on someone else's health insurance. So you'll have to have your health insurance card and the group number in order to waive that. But you absolutely can waive that if you're on your parents' health insurance. I hope that answered your question. Then the next question is, hi, what's the between subsidized loans? So maybe I'm going to say the difference between subsidized loans. So this is from maybe a student or a parent. So the difference between the subsidized loans and the unsubsidized loans are this. A subsidized loan is at 3.86% interest rate. The subsidized loan does not accrue interest while going to college, and you do not need to pay that back until 6 months after you graduate, and it is a student loan. An unsubsidized loan is a loan that is also at 3.86% interest rate. It does accrue interest while you go to college. It is also a student loan. The interest can be repaid while the student is going to college, or it can accrue. So those are the difference between those two loans. There's also, just to throw it in, there's a plus loan. The Parent Plus loan is at 6.4% interest rate. That is a loan in the parent's name, where the parents make payments while the student is in college. And the only way to get the subsidized loan, the unsubsidized loan, and the Parent Plus loan is the gateway is the FAFSA. So you have to have your FAFSA on file in order, and if you're need eligible, you would be awarded those loans. So some great information, and then we'll focus on some more questions too. I always like to give you links that you guys can do the work on your own. And Jeannie and I are, just really great, really happy to see so many faces here that we know, that have seen us, that have met us otherwise. So welcome to everyone who's coming, and please, we're going to save, I think since there's so many questions, I'm going to leave a little bit of extra room for questions, and then and see if we have more financial aid questions. So important links you want to remember is, in order to fill out your free application for federal student aid, otherwise known as the FAFSA, it's going to be at fafsa.ed.gov. So that's where you want to go. That's the main site. So if you have any questions, that's the application. Remember, it goes up January 1st. Also, the CSS profile, you can use your internet browser and go profileonline.collegeboard.org. Okay, so that's where you fill out your CSS profile. And remember, I said it comes up October 1st. And then the place where you're going to get all the federal student aid questions answered that you ever have is go to studentaid.ed.gov. The federal student aid, the Department of Ed they've done an amazing job of creating a user-friendly website where all the questions that you could possibly ask, the answers are going to be posted right there. It's a great resource. I use it. Many of my colleagues use it. We're referring it to everyone all the time. So really take a look at it. They have great tools on there. Any question that you have from A to Z, the answer is going to be on there. So use those 3 resources, and that'll get you started. So let me take a look at some more questions. I think I already answered the loan question. So here's the next question. If my financial aid award package did not include work study, can I still apply? So can you still apply for work study? If your financial aid package did not include work study, you could ask the college, how come I didn't get work study, or, was it something, that I should have or could have applied to or got awarded to? If it doesn't, if you don't get work study, then maybe there was an eligibility piece there that you don't really know about. So I'm not sure about your particular family circumstances, but you cannot get a work study job unless you got it on your financial aid award package. So you might want to call the college and ask them, maybe, was there something, maybe you have to mark the question, would you like to be considered for work study? So I don't know if you selected yes in that button. And so here's a perfect time for me to put out there for you guys that if you have questions about your financial aid package, really contact the financial aid office at the college you're going to attend or at the college that you're choosing between, because they really want to help you. And the only way that they can help you is if you contact them and let them know what's going on in your family. So give them a call, let them know they're there to help, and they're willing to answer all the questions you have, just like we are today. So let me go down and see if we can get to as many questions as we can. This next question says, if my parents are divorced, whose income matters when applying? Great question. Again, if the student, if my parents are divorced, so if your parents are divorced, who do you live with 51% of the time? So for you, it's specific. Who do you live with 51% of the time? That is the parent who you use when filling out the FAFSA, okay? The person you live with 51% of the time. So I hope that answers that question. And our next question is, what websites would you recommend for scholarships? So there's many scholarship websites out there. So just go ahead and use your internet browser and go ahead, type in scholarships, and you'll see a list of them, and whatever format works for you, or definitely go there and take a look at each of them. Will have a profile you'll need to fill out. So there's many out there. I highly recommend you do your due diligence and look for them. There's several. There's FastWeb, there's Zinch, there's College Board, there's finaid.org. So there's many different scholarships. Sites, should I say. Okay, we have another question. What about income that I did not report to the government? So if you didn't report it to the government and you still got it in, there's other untaxed income that you can write on the FAFSA, so that will include into your free application for federal student aid. There's any money you received on your behalf. So go ahead and fill that in on that piece, and I think that answers that question. Our next question is, how much of this info would be required from the non-custodial parent in the case of divorced parents? So good question. So a non-custodial parent, if it is a FAFSA only school, they do not ask for non-custodial information unless they have their own supplemental application. If it's a CSS profile, they will let you know if you need to provide non-custodial parent information, and they'll provide you with a link for the non-custodial parent to fill out their piece, which will include their marital status, their bank account, their money, and all of their information. So it's case by case, school by school. And I just want to welcome some of our newcomers who just arrived today. We're really glad to see you, and we're answering questions right now. So we'll move on to the next question. So the next question is, some of them are kind of the same, so I'm not going to repeat them. So we have a student here. I'm graduating in June of 2015 and starting my senior year this week. Congratulations! You're homeschooled. Should I fill out the FAFSA now or wait until October? So if you're starting your senior year this week and you're going to be attending, are you going to be attending college in 2015? If you're attending college in 2015, the fall of 2015, I'm looking at my calendar, then you're going to fill out the FAFSA on January 1st of 2015, okay? So I hope that helps you, and then you're going to fill out the CSS profile on October 1st of 2014, okay? And if I didn't answer that correct, go ahead and post another question. I'll see if I can come back to it. So for contact information, if you have questions or you want to ask Jeannie, who I'm going to throw it back to her in a little bit. We still have a lot of financial aid questions, Jeannie, so it's rocking the chat. This is the email where you can get a hold of us. This is the phone number and the information. So I'm going to answer a few more questions. It's 11:48. We have some time. Again, we want to thank everyone for joining us. Today, our topic was really financial aid made specific. Another place that you can contact us, Jeannie and I hang out at College Cash on Thursday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is tonight, on Twitter. We're always answering questions and we're there for you. So if you are a Twitter friend of us, we're giving you a high five and excited to see you here on College Week Live. So let's go to the next question. We have a lot of students here, which makes us really happy. I'm glad that you're involved in your process, and we support you 100%. So the next question is, how does money for a 529 affect need? So a 529 is considered a parent asset, even though the student may be on the account. It's a parent asset, and it should be posted in the FAFSA and the CSS profile as a parent asset for 529s. UTMAs are considered a student asset, so that's how they should be posted in each application. All right, so moving on to the next question. We only have a few, like 10-ish minutes, so I'll try to get all your questions in. Again, I'm going to leave the contact page up for Jeannie and I will throw it back to her in about 5 minutes-ish so she can do a wrap-up, but we'll just try and plug through all of these financial aid questions. The next question's from, what is my financial aid letter? What if my financial aid letter did not include information about scholarships? Will there be a separate letter regarding scholarships? So if your financial aid letter didn't receive any scholarships on it, then there maybe if you applied to separate private scholarships, that would come in a separate letter and you would be contacted separately. If you didn't receive any grants or scholarships from the college, whether they were merit or need-based, then there was no free financial scholarship offered to you. Feel free to contact the financial aid office and make sure that this is correct, but private scholarships, you'll be contacted separate, but any other scholarships should have been on your award letter, okay? I hope that answered some of that question regarding that. We have time for a couple more questions, and I'm trying to get to everyone. There's so many people here. We're just thrilled to see everyone here. The next question is, can you share some information about the PLUS loans? I'll try. It's general. The PLUS loan is at 6.41% interest rate. In order to get the PLUS loan, you have to have the student's FAFSA on file. The PLUS loan is a loan that you take out through the school, and those payments for the PLUS loan are to be made while the student is in college, and usually the PLUS loan can either you can take out the gap amount, I call it the gap amount, or up to cost of attendance. So if you've already received other aid, then it will be the difference between all the other aid and loans, and the balance can be in a PLUS loan. It's one parent. You will need a cosigner. And if you have some more information, I highly recommend going back to Federal Student Aid and learning more about the PLUS loan there. They have all great questions and answer section. Anything you probably have, it's probably there too. So I hope that helps. And I'm watching the clock, I promise. I have another question here. What I think you're trying to type, what expenses does the FAFSA cover? The FAFSA doesn't ask about expenses at all. So if there's something going on with your family, a special circumstance, maybe a job loss, a high medical situation that's going on in your family, or maybe other things that this form doesn't have, please contact the financial aid office and let them know what's going on in your family, because this form is very structured and you may have something that the financial aid office can let you know that they might take into consideration when awarding you financial aid. And we just have time for a few more questions, and people are still coming in, which is great. Here we go. How does financial aid come into play when you want to study abroad? So, great question. So, if you want to study abroad, then if you are eligible for financial aid, some colleges will actually have a way of helping your financial aid pay for some of your study abroad. So please check with the financial aid office. Each college will be different, and you may actually receive aid while studying abroad that you can apply to your abroad study. So check with the college. Remember, those financial aid counselors are there to help. With that said, I actually think we made it through all the questions, which they were great questions. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to throw it back to Jeannie for the last 5 minutes and have her give you some final comments. It was great seeing you all today. It's a great week on College Week Live. Stay tuned. They have a great program for you guys today, and definitely come visit Jeannie and I on College Cash, 5 p.m. Pacific time, #College Cash on Twitter. Jeannie, take it away.